Hello, my name is Reza Palizban, the president of Aegis Innovators. Welcome to the Work From Home webinar series, and thank you for joining us. COVID-19 has changed the global economy. Many businesses today are struggling to adapt to having a majority of the workforce work from home. This webinar series is designed to help you with technological and business best practices of how to empower your workforce to be more productive, efficient, and secure while working from home. Today, we're joined by Inspirity, our guest, Jesse Igia, and Amara Abedi, along with my cohort at Aegis Innovators, Reagan Hackett. That we'll be talking about the mindset shift that's necessary when leading your team remotely. Thank you again for joining, and we hope you enjoyed today's webinar.
Welcome everyone to the Aegis Innovators Work From Home webinar series. I'm Reza Palizban, president of Aegis Innovators, joined by several special guests today. We have guests from Inspirity, Jesse Igia, and Amara Abedi. Did I say that correctly, Amara?
Yes, you did.
Okay, great. And Reagan Hackett as well from Aegis Innovators. So Aegis Innovators, if you don't know us already, we're a cybersecurity and cloud collaboration company. You can see that in the background. And what that means is we focus on a lot of Microsoft technology, specifically Microsoft Teams and Windows Virtual Desktop, and a lot of the technologies we focus on that are cloud collaboration means we help businesses work from home and work from remote locations, and that is our specialty, work from home. Reagan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Reza. I'm a virtual CIO helping companies build their cybersecurity plans and compliance plans. So specifically when they're introducing new technology or working from home or any digital transformation project, we want to make sure that there's a security plan that maps to the compliance standards that companies have to follow. So I help put those strategies in place and help companies understand the difference between information security and how that information security plan will work with the cybersecurity tools they use. So excited to talk with the Inspirity team and you, Reza, today about really just how this all affects people in their life, because it's really important that any technology strategy is usable, because if you deploy a secure, unusable plan, you're going to put the people at risk. As people are working from home, that's we don't want to put people in a state of concern or risk as they're learning to operate in this new work from home paradigm.
Fantastic, Reagan. And Jesse, introduce yourself.
Perfect. Yes. So I'll be introducing myself, talking a bit about Inspirity, and then Amara. But yes, thanks so much, Reza. My name is Jesse Igia. I'm a business performance advisor here with Inspirity here in the San Diego community. Basically, what I do is just kind of help businesses run better, grow faster, and make more money. And the way we do that is we have a complete portfolio of HR and business solutions that really reflect large conglomerates, and thus that we're able to offer 100 style benefits at a significantly reduced cost. And in the same time, we're able to also minimize the company liability exposure and lower administrative tasks. So business owners and principals can really focus on what they need to do, and that's growing their business. So that's a little bit about what we do. In addition, I want to introduce Amara, who will be speaking on our behalf from Inspirity on our presentation. So Amara has been an organizational development and change management consultant for various government and private sector agencies, including Houston Police Department, the Jefferson County, Alabama, Habitat for Humanity, and several other corporations. In addition to her work in developing organizations, Amara is also a certified learning and development professional and has applied her knowledge and skills with coaching and developing high potential leaders at Shell Oil and training in the sales teams at Inspirity. Amara's professional expertise is driven from her educational background and understanding the human brain through her bachelor's in psychology and master's in organizational psychology. So, Amara?
Thank you, Jesse. That was quite an introduction.
Yeah.
So like you guys mentioned that today we're talking about Now that we are experiencing different kind of workforces all across the globe, what is required to be able to now manage or lead your team at a time like this? Some of them will actually require, how do you shift your mindset from being in physical presence of your employees, of your coworkers, to now what do I need to keep in mind? What are some of the considerations when I'm working remote? So you want to help your people understand there are going to be some challenges. So how do you strategize and work around those? How are you ensuring that your people are communicating within their team, as well as that it's a two-way communication from you to your employees, as well as from them to you. Lastly, we will share some of the resources that Inspirity has put up on their website, and then we will take any questions at the end. So let's start with remote work considerations. One of the most common questions that I have received so far is employers wondering, or business owners asking, do they have to offer it? I would say not necessarily. So if you look at any of those government, federal or state regulations, no business is actually legally required to offer remote work. Now, that takes a few different routes, because sometimes you have to take into consideration what kind of industry we're talking about. Some of them are actually, they have employees that are very hands-on, and there might not even be any opportunities for employers to offer any remote work. So keeping that in mind, what is required for their employees to be able to perform their jobs remotely? Is there security involved? Are they feeling safe doing that? Do they require any special kind of equipment? So keeping those things in mind, and see if the work can actually be presented as remote or not. And discussing some of the challenges and how we strategize around it, obviously the very first one that comes to mind is having technology issues. I know that in the past, it has been one big thing that whenever a manager or a business leader had to manage their employees remotely, that they would constantly trying to figure out, how do I make sure that I'm constantly meeting with my employees, and is it face-to-face? It's not the same when I have a virtual meeting with them, or do I have to constantly call them? So right now we're experiencing, Inspirity is all across America, and so I know that I'm experiencing a lot of times that what time zones are we in, or if I get dropped off my call, then what did I miss? How can I avoid some of those technology issues? I know some of the platforms have been better than others. And that's where, Reza, I also wanted to pick your brain, if you wanted to tell me some of the technology issues that you guys, as the experts in this field, have experienced.
Yes, absolutely. You know, when COVID-19 hit, most businesses just were not prepared to have a majority of their people move from working in an office environment and overnight having to do most of their work at home. Currently the American workforce, 46% of the workforce does do some remote work. So some companies were prepared better than others, but out of the entire workforce, only a little over 3% actually do it more than half the time. So being unprepared meant, how do I get access to my computer in the office and my files? And how do we, do that in a secure fashion? How do we have meetings? How do we actually talk about an important subject? So with these technology issues, when the first week when COVID hit, companies were just like, how do I get somebody to have access and be productive and get their work done? And it was less about security. But then what ended up happening is the cyber criminals got out there and got out of control. So a lot of companies ended up having issues. So that's what we've been dealing with. Fortunately, a lot of our clients have already adopted the cloud, but for those who haven't, we were having to go through some migrations. They quickly decided to adopt it. But under ideal circumstances, you want to, have a plan, a project plan, and certain steps to be able to do that. But this environment happened to us in such a shockingly fast way that just companies didn't have that opportunity.
I agree. And I think at this time, because we are not certain how the new normal is going to look like, so this might be the best time to now start investing and looking at what kind of strategy and policies and regulations do you want for your remote teams, even in the future, that if you want to allow a lot of your people that weren't working remotely in the past, but coming out of this, they might be. So, and it's not like we haven't already made that initial investment in these platforms. It's just a matter of learning how to utilize them the best, or even making the investment at this point, because like I said, that we're not sure how or what the future holds in that. One common challenge that I know our team, and as well as we hear constantly about from other business partners, that people are missing that emotional connection. People are missing that opportunity to really see each other face to face and collaborate personally and in person. So when I talk about that, that is one thing that I know that even remote workers before this pandemic were facing constantly. They feel left out at times, or they feel like they can't just pop over their head into their coworkers' cube and really have a conversation about what they're feeling like, or share any of what's going on in their personal lives. So I would say to help with those situations, I think coming out of this, a lot of people will start to look back and wonder how we were led through this experience. So one thing I would say, that whenever you are, as a leader, as a manager, you're meeting with your people, you want to ensure that you're meeting with them face to face as much as you can, that you're reading their facial expressions, you're reading their body language. Are they smiling? Are they nodding? Are they acknowledging whatever you guys are discussing? Ask them about what their life experience is like going through all of this right now. Are they, and make some observations that, are they more reserved? Are they more withdrawn than usual? Because those kind of things will really help you see what's going on in their personal lives, and if this is really affecting them in a way where then it might start to actually hurt their productivity or their mental health. Or some people are actually introverts, and it's okay if they feel like they are in their own space. But what I'm trying to say is, if you know your employees, and you know that usually they're chiming in, or they're adding value to your meetings, and they're constantly having great conversations, but now they're all quiet. So make sure that we're paying attention to some of those nonverbal cues and how important they can be. And that goes into ensuring that you are having that communication with your people. Sometimes I remember before all of this that I would think twice or thrice before texting or managing director, right? But at times like this, I think over communication is a lot better than under communication. And you can use multiple platforms, whether it's through texting, instant message, email, phone, voicemail, virtual calls, FaceTime, whatever is it that you need for making sure that your people are feeling included and they feel like they are in the loop about everything. They're not left out of any important conversations. That's going to help them be productive. I think it's important to be able to do that. Reza, what would you say when it comes to utilizing different platforms on for just different types of communication that you're having from technology standpoint?
Yeah, there's a lot of different platforms, and the one that we really love the most is Microsoft Teams, and partly because it does a lot more than just video conferencing. So you mentioned earlier that emotional connection that's really important to have with employees, and I think Teams does a great job because not only are you able to have live video conferencing, but it also has what's called chat and presence. And so chat and presence means you have instant chat communication. So normally when you can just stand up and look around the corner to another office or over to someone's cubicle, well, you can do that via chat right now virtually. And if you need to talk face-to-face, well, you can have a quick instant one-on-one video meeting, or you can set up a conference call with a broader team. So the beauty of Teams to me is it's all about collaboration. It's one-on-one collaboration and team collaboration, and it allows for co-authoring of documents. And, so what that basically means is two people in a document working together at the same time. So, studies have actually shown, Amara, that working remote, people can actually be more productive, but it requires this mindset shift that you're talking about. And it also requires this ability for an organization to have a willingness to adopt technologies that are a little bit different. And Teams is the one that we recommend the most.
I love that. And I remember trying to convince my boss, I think last year, showing them some of those studies that it really makes a lot of difference if you get to work remote, then how much productive you can be, and you're saving so much time on your commute. And sometimes just the office environment itself, I feel like it can be distracting at times, or if you have some toxicity around you, then working remotely can really help you in those ways. Another one that I know I've heard quite a bit about are both sides of distractions, right? So there are times when you will see that distractions can actually be good. We have workaholics, we have people who overwork, and that can lead to employee exhaustion, that can lead to burnout and lack of productivity. So it's good that sometimes if you want to spend some time with your family, or with your watching TV or playing with your dog. But then there are also times when distractions can be bad. There are people who like to stay focused. I have a coworker who was just mentioning the other day that every time he takes a walk by something, that he finds another little project or task that he should do, or his wife tells him, let's go do groceries, and he loses that focus. So I would say distractions can both be good or bad. It goes back again to the people side of your employees, the ones that want to be productive, the ones that want to make sure that their tasks are being completed, and they are monitoring their own progress, that they can easily time manage, they can easily manage their distractions on their own personal time. Last question that I know I've also seen a lot of business leaders ask is how to make sure that their team is staying productive. And that's something that I know we have heard, again, even before this pandemic, that people were a lot of times wondering that if I let my employees work from home or remotely from other places, that what guarantees that they will actually get any work done and they're not wasting time or resources. What I would say to that is, I think that has a lot more to do with leaders or with managers' perception that they won't be able to have some charge or control over the situation of leading their employees remotely. I don't personally think that it's more about on the employee's side to not be productive. And there are several ways that we can ensure that your team is being productive. You can look at it from outcome perspective versus progress perspective. You can't really monitor everybody's progress. However, you can hold them accountable. You can set goals for them, and you can ask them about deadlines and constant check-ins, right? Do quick surveys, have individual conversations with them and see where they currently are, highlight some of the opportunities for them, and see that what kind of challenges they're facing. Do they feel like they're on target with their tasks? Do they need any help? So I think, again, it goes back to communication. It goes back to having that trust in your employees that they are doing the work that they were supposed to be doing. And that shows the optimism, that shows the strength in your team, that shows that you trust your people. And sometimes if you feel like your employee just doesn't have enough work in the day, then I think this is the best time where they can actually start developing their skills. I know there are several different online trainings that either managers or supervisors or your employees can do, whether it's on communication or time management or any of the, even reading some of your books that are related to business strategy that you've been thinking of reading for a while. So coming out of this, your employees are actually going to be more talented and more skilled at what they've always wanted to achieve. So there are several different ways that you can ensure that your team is staying productive. Lastly, I would say I know this is just a very high level information on COVID-19 and making sure that you're communicating to your employees, utilizing the best technology, utilizing different platforms, and making sure that your employees are staying productive. We have provided several different resources on Inspirity.com. There is an actual COVID-19 resource center where you can find a lot of different webinars. And I will pass it back to Reza at this time for any questions or to share any content.
Yeah, well, that was very valuable. Thank you so much, Amara. Just curious, in terms of prior to COVID-19, what was really preventing businesses from having more employees work from home?
So I would say that, I think it was just that perception that remote workers are just usually less productive. I think that's the very first one. And then the fear of just not being able to supervise, engage, and coordinate everything through technology, or just I think strategizing around it was just a different concept back then. But going through this, even on our client side, we were seeing that companies that never thought that they would have that many remote workers or they would see value in investing in their technology for their remote employees. We're looking so much great success in this time today that they are being successful in taking those measures and implementing these guidelines for their people.
Yeah, fantastic. And I see that this trend it's not going to go away. Like, life has changed with COVID-19. And so are you seeing customers that are having difficulty with that, or are they and because you talk about mindset with all of this, are people thinking that eventually everything needs to be rolled back and this is not a permanent change and they need to go back to different things? Are they preparing for this as a temporary thing, or are they really embracing this as, hey, we all have to change, life is going to be different? And what are some of the experiences that you're getting right now with Insperity customers, and how do you help them, guide them to making the best decisions for their organization moving forward?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So some of the trends that we are seeing, like I was saying, that people with that traditional mindset who always thought that if they are able to see their employees face to face is when they can really make sure that their employees are actually engaged and they are being productive and producing to their expectation. But what we're seeing is that the mindset is now shifted, not just on the productivity side of employees, but also they're looking at it from a bigger picture that now the stress is reduced from people having to constantly commute. I think in Houston, the average time a person spends every day is about 30 minutes to an hour just commuting back and forth from work. And like you mentioned that there's an increased productivity by being able to work remote. From HR perspective, I think we are also looking at that now. If you're able to offer jobs to remote workers where you're not having to constrain them through that they have to travel to Houston or they have to relocate and move to Houston, and then as an employer you have to invest in their relocation costs, that all can be saved if you are able to offer that job to people that can work remotely from anywhere. So now you're attracting a bigger and a wider pool of talent, right? Also, people that want to stay or work remotely, now they're able to you can also have a bigger employee retention on that side. So as an employer, I think that mindset is being shifted because people are looking at everything now from a different mindset. They were spending so much money on just budget around travel expenses, having seminars, having conferences that required that in-person presence that are now being done virtually. And yes, they had to invest some on the technology side, but the benefits are so much greater than I think they expected. So I would say we're looking at a greater trend of how things are going to take a different route, and we're going to have a new norm than we did in the past.
Yeah, and with that, realization that we do have to change. I'm sure, Jesse, that you're seeing a lot of new customers coming to Insperity asking, hey, how do we, what can Insperity do for us to adjust to this new norm? So for those people that are unfamiliar with Insperity and they want to come on, kind of give an overview of what it's like for a new customer to come to Insperity and what they can expect right off the bat.
Yeah, I think, Roll, right now, I think one of the most recent stories I heard is one of our clients, in comparison to some of the other PEOs, is that we were super fast in giving the PPP loan information so they can be prepared. And I want to say 56% of Insperity employees, clients got approved for the PPP versus the national average. I think it was 20% approval. So, just right off the bat, you get that value and just the remarks I hear of how those clients were super ecstatic to have that. So I think just right off the bat, that's how we can affect the market right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those are great results that you've provided, and just taking this organizational approach to working from home, having a partner like Insperity to guide companies through this change when it's happening so fast, it's really key. And so that was a wonderful presentation, Amara, and great discussion. You brought up several points that I want to turn it over now to my colleague, Reagan Hackett, to talk about, how we can bring customers and bring businesses to a work from home strategy in a safe, secure way where we're meeting those emotional needs and we're helping them change their mindset to be able to work very productively and efficiently from home. So Reagan, take it away.
Absolutely, Reza. Thank you. And thank you, Jesse and Mara, for the great presentation and really just kind of breaking down the human element of working from home. So I always talk about with my clients, information security is more than just the technology and tools. It's the people and processes that you put in place, and how successful you'll be at keeping your information secure is, how practical and usable your processes are, and that they're not ad hoc and they're consistent. And when you have great processes that support people's work, not only will you have a stronger information security policy and cybersecurity posture, but your people are going to be more confident, relaxed, and feel secure as well, that they're able to do their tasks repeatably and they have confidence that's in a secure manner. So it's really important when you have a work from home program that you develop. Reza brought up a lot of great points from that article that he created on the 10 things you need to consider. Well, even just to think about, break it down even to 3 phases. I want everyone to think about how you always want to start with security, and we recommend Teams, because think of Teams as it's more than meetings, as you saw. It's the virtual collaboration toolbox. It's really going to support your work from home program, because it has all the compliances and tools to, again, create, to support your information security strategy, but also just to help your people be very productive, employees that can engage and have a good work-life balance when they're not in the office every day. So that's why, again, after we do the collaboration platform in Teams, then we work on the home and office setup, make sure people are comfortable with their technology and tools and the equipment so they can have great video meetings. And then at the end of the day, too, the possibility of even just going beyond the equipment to working in the cloud as much as possible. But the thing I want to leave with everyone is, I think Amara brought the point of why people hadn't moved to work from home before. It wasn't just that incorrect perception that people weren't as productive, I think, from home. I think it was just there was so much uncertainty. A lot of people didn't know where to start. And so my recommendation is you always start with the cybersecurity strategy. 7 out of 10 businesses aren't prepared to deal with a cyber attack, and that was before COVID. That's only going to increase. And you really have to have a plan and strategy. You can see here, the secure collaboration platform is so critical, because that's where most of your phishing attacks happen, where people click on a link, or you have people faking to be authoritative sources to trick your employees to give up information or provide passwords or install malware. And so that's only step 4 on this plan, because you really got to start first with identity and make sure every single endpoint is trusted and secure. So you definitely need to build this work from home strategy in terms of thinking about the end user experience, but also thinking about the cybersecurity plan from the tool set, but the overall information security plan. The last thing I'll leave you with here is, this is an example of how we help clients really use the Microsoft Compliance Manager to, again, make sure that the technology tools and the whole program they developed to work from home is actually going to be compliant based off of whatever regulation, information data regulations they have to map to. So definitely reach out to us. I think both Aegis and Inspirity would love to talk with you about how developing this work from home program, because it is about the people, HR, and it's about the technology tool set. And I think the future leaders that really will shape how organizations thrive in the future, I think Reza does a good job outlining in this future work here, is that I think HR, the HR leader in any organization is really going to shape how successful the organization is going to be in the future, because it's the combination of people and technology to be able to work from anywhere and everywhere very securely and map that to the company's overall strategy. So I think it's a very exciting time to see this evolution of business happening so quickly. And I think, again, if you are focusing on the end user overall experience and security, it can be a very positive outcome for businesses. So thanks everyone for checking that out. Any other thoughts, Reza or Jesse?
No, thank you so much, Reza and Reagan and Amara. But yeah, I think it was a fantastic presentation today.
Yeah, thank you, the Inspirity team, for joining us on our work from home series. We're all in the same boat as a global economy that we have to adjust. And hopefully in the future there'll be a vaccine, a cure that allows us to be able to live life more freely. But I also believe that a lot of good can come out of the, from an organizational development standpoint, from an HR standpoint, from a technology standpoint, that we can learn how to communicate better under these difficult circumstances, how to do it more securely. And Reagan, that was a great, overview that in normal situations you'd put a strategy in place, but we didn't have that. The world didn't afford us that opportunity. And so one of the key things that you outlined there, Reagan, was business continuity. And obviously having a cloud strategy, having that flexibility of being able to work from anywhere, from at any time, but doing it in a secure fashion, that's a great component of having business continuity, and also backing up your data as well. So they have this concept of disaster recovery. We outline that brilliantly in the strategies that we bring out to our customers. And Insperity, the fact that you guys stepped up and helped not only bring additional resources to your clients, but to help them guide them through, it's just very invaluable. And we're very honored that you joined us today and that you partner with Aegis Innovators, and we look forward to helping deliver great results to the marketplace together. Thank you again, team.
Thank
you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care and stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.